Well, we wouldn't have humanity without sexuality, so if humanity is good, then we could reason that sexuality is good as well. However, I think that spirituality transcends humanity. Humanity gives us the opportunity, among the different species of life, ours is more complex, and it gives us the opportunity to answer or ask qualitative questions. Why am I? What is the purpose of life? Is there a meaning? And so on and so forth. And as we pursue those questions from a spiritual perspective, we end up really pursuing a transcendence of the limitations of our humanity. And so that which fosters humanity, if you will, sexuality, could get in the way of the pursuit of transcending the limits of humanity. I do think that many religious traditions have been preoccupied with sexuality in a way that paints it in a moralistically very negative way, and that may be part of the problem, but everybody in human society agrees that sexuality needs to be limited. It just depends where you want to draw the line. People will draw the line at pedophilia, or humans having sex with animals, or some people draw the line in other places. So I think if you have a spiritual tradition that is pursuing a reality that transcends the limits entirely of our humanity, then there's a place for regulating or harnessing our sexuality. Sexuality is probably the sensual expression of the human that's most consuming. And so it, as I say, fosters humanity, and it may be the sensual expression that has the greatest power to keep us within its limits, even while we really seek to transcend its limits. We constantly seek to reach beyond the limits of our physicality. We celebrate those moments that we go beyond them by a 1,000th of a 10,000th of a second, for which, for example, in the Olympics, we receive a gold medal. So there's something about humanity that makes it want to, or allows it to think that it can reach beyond its limitations, and that is the self itself, the Atma, from the Hindu perspective, that transcends the limits of humanity, and it is genderless and asexual. So to arrive at it, realization of the self, and have a union with the source of the self, with the Godhead, then there's a place for limiting sexuality. I don't look at it so much as a moral right or wrong, but more rather whether, to what extent it may help or hinder my pursuance of spirituality. I think there's a place for sexuality in the pursuance of transcendence that gives sexuality more meaning than merely an animalistic, sensual sense of fulfillment. And I think in a relationship, let's say a monogamous relationship, sexuality expressed can have more meaning than it does just in the less complex forms of life. And there's a place for it, expressing intimacy and so forth, in pursuit of transcendence, with the idea being central to that it in and of itself is really what the ephemeral world, if you will, is about. So I do think religious traditions many of them go over the top moralistically about sexuality and speak about it in ways that are counterproductive. But I think it's clear that everyone, as I say, agrees it has to be regulated in some sense. If you go just jump on somebody in the mall because you you think he or she is attractive, you'll be arrested. So where we want to draw the line depends on our worldview. If our worldview is to transcend the limits of humanity, then we should regulate our sexuality accordingly.